The Cyclist, by Erik Røde, 1755. Read by Richard D. Eisenhower. Continued.
Chapter 9. Angelo. Scene 43. Decades of change and a father-son fallout. Time continued its relentless march, and the story meandered through the decades. The 1930s brought a mix of challenges and moments of fleeting respite, while the 1940s were marked by the shadow of World War II that cast its grim influence over the world. Now, on the eve of the 1950s, the Italian countryside still retained its enchanting beauty, but it had also evolved in ways Carlo could hardly have fathomed. Carlo, now with a few decades under his belt and a face etched with lines of wisdom and experience, had become a living repository of memories. He was a witness to the world's transformation, a validation to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. He had seen how the vibrant fields had turned into battlegrounds, heard the echoes of laughter that were replaced by the echoes of war, and watched as the world rebuilt itself, piece by painful piece. Within the tapestry of changing times, Carlo's relationship with his son emerged as a thread strained by opposing desires. Carlo's son, Angelo, had inherited his father's spirit of adventure and dreams, but they were directed toward a different horizon. He longed for the land of opportunities, America, a place where he believed he could carve out a future of limitless potential. Carlo, sitting on the porch with his wife Ponti, would often voice his concerns. "Ponti, you know how I feel about America. I've seen the pain it can bring. I can't bear the thought of Angelo going there." Ponti, her face etched with worry, would respond, "Carlo, our son is a grown man. He has dreams, just like you did when you were young. We must support him, even if it means letting him go." Carlo's heart was guarded by a history that had etched into it a deep distrust of Americans. His son's aspirations were met with fervent opposition, fueled by Carlo's painful memories of the stolen bicycle and the tragedy that followed. He was determined to shield his son from the hurt that had once befallen him, even if it meant standing as an obstacle to his dreams. Despite the tension and heartache that brewed between father and son, Angelo was resolute in his pursuit of a new life across the ocean. The allure of America's promise burned brightly in his heart, leading him to make the fateful decision to leave behind the hills of Italy. He packed his dreams and ambitions into a single suitcase, knowing that this journey would take him far from the embrace of his homeland and the watchful eyes of his father. Carlo and Angelo had many heated arguments, with emotions running high. Carlo would implore, "Angelo, you don't understand what America did to me. It took something precious from me, and I don't want it to do the same to you." Angelo, equally passionate, would retort, "Father, I respect your experiences, but I can't let fear dictate my life. I need to explore, to find my own path. Please try to understand." Scene 44. No turning back. Amidst this changing world, Carlo found solace in Ponti's unwavering support. She was his anchor, a source of strength as the turbulent tides of time threatened to pull him under. "Carlo," Ponti said one evening as they sat on their porch, "these times are changing so rapidly. It's as if the world itself is in turmoil." Carlo looked at her, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Yes, Ponti. But our love, our bond, it remains constant, doesn't it?" Ponti smiled, her hand finding Carlo's. "Always, my love. Through every storm, we stand together." Carlo's relationship with his son Angelo, however, was far from constant. The boy, now a young man, harbored dreams of a life in America, a land of endless opportunities. "Angelo," Carlo said one day, his voice tinged with concern, "this land, our home, it's where our roots run deep. It's provided for generations." Angelo, his eyes bright with determination, replied, "Papa, I understand, but America offers opportunities we can't find here. I want to explore the world." The tension between father and son grew palpable as Angelo's departure date approached. "Angelo," Carlo pleaded, "America. It holds memories I'd rather forget. Please, reconsider." But Angelo was resolute. "Papa, I promise, I'll be careful. It's time for me to spread my wings." Carlo's heart ached at the thought of his son leaving, but he knew he had to let him go. "Angelo," he said, tears glistening in his eyes, "you're my heart. Please don't go." Angelo hugged his father tightly. "Papa, I must follow my own path, just as you once did. It's time." Carlo and Ponti watched as the ship carried Angelo away, their hearts heavy with longing and concern. "Carlo," Ponti said, her voice soft with reassurance, "our son is determined. We must have faith in him." "I know, Ponti," Carlo replied, "but I can't shake this unease." Carlo could only watch as his son boarded a ship bound for a distant horizon. In his eyes, there was a mixture of pride for Angelo's courage and apprehension for the future that awaited him. The old man's heart ached as he saw the ship grow smaller on the horizon, a symbol of both hope and loss. As the years flowed like a river, Carlo found himself navigating the currents of life alone with Ponti, his wife. The disconnect between Carlo and his son Angelo had grown into a chasm, and it weighed heavily on their hearts. Ponti, torn between her husband and her only son, suffered silently. She watched the disintegration of her family before her eyes, her heart torn between her husband's pain and her son's dreams. The once close bond that Carlo and Angelo had shared had frayed, replaced by an ocean of distance. Letters were sent and received, but the connection between them seemed to have been swallowed by the vast expanse that now separated them. Scene 45, Angelo. Angelo's journey from Italy to New York was an odyssey of both excitement and tribulation. The vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean stretched out before him, and the ship that carried him seemed like a floating world unto itself. Yet, the novelty of the voyage soon gave way to the harsh realities of life at sea. Angelo, battling motion sickness, his voice weary, talking to himself, "Oh, I can't bear this endless rocking." Motion sickness plagued him relentlessly, and his pockets held only a meager sum. He was alone, adrift in a sea of strangers, yearning for the familiar sights and sounds of his hometown. Angelo's journey finally arriving in the bustling streets of New York marked the beginning of an unexpected chapter in his life. Far from the rustic beauty of his Italian hometown, he found himself in a city that never slept. The comforting presence of an Italian family, close friends of his father and relatives from his mother's side, eased his transition into this new world. New York was a whirlwind that swept Angelo off his feet. Its towering buildings, bustling streets, and cacophony of voices were a stark contrast to the tranquil countryside he had left behind. The city's unforgiving pace threatened to overwhelm him. Angelo, with a touch of homesickness, reflected on his new Italian family, thinking to himself, "Their hospitality reminds me of home." In mere days, Angelo was thrust into the chaotic rhythm of the city. His job at the neighborhood bodega turned him into a delivery boy navigating the relentless stream of cars and people. A customer at the bodega, impatiently looking directly at Angelo, said, "Where's my order?" Angelo, breathless and rushing to deliver, replied, "I'm coming." Yet, amid the chaos, there were moments of respite. On Sundays, his cousin Timoteo, lovingly called Billy, introduced him to the thrill of bike races on the outskirts of the city. Angelo's natural talent, inherited from his father Carlo, shone through. Billy, excitedly, said, "Angelo, you've got the spirit of a racer." Their bond deepened with each race, but it was one unforgettable showdown that left an indelible mark. Angelo went head-to-head with a formidable opponent, Burkhard Grutter, aptly called Rock for his huge rock-solid build, standing at 6 feet 3 inches. Their fierce competition ignited the passion within Angelo. Angelo, with determination, speaking to himself, said, "I can do this." In a heart-pounding finish, Angelo triumphed by a hair's breadth, and the victory celebrations at a nearby pub were filled with laughter and newfound camaraderie. Rock, with admiration, said, "Angelo, you've got guts." Time passed, and as the days turned into weeks, Angelo and Billy stumbled upon an intriguing job opportunity that promised handsome pay but required a month-long commitment. There was, however, a twist. The job was nestled in Rock's hometown of Nebraska. Angelo, contemplating, with his inner dialogue, could this be my chance? Rock, already a friend, revealed more about his roots in Nebraska, offering Angelo a train ticket and some funds for the journey. Rock, enthusiastically and relieved, said, "You'll do great, Angelo. It's in my hometown." Scene 46, Nebraska. Angelo embarked on the train ride, days passing like a blur until he arrived at a small, remote station. To his surprise, he was the sole passenger disembarking. An unfamiliar couple, a farmer standing about 6 feet 5 inches, and his wife waited expectantly. Angelo, a bit perplexed, in a quiet voice, said, "Did I miss something?" Then, Herr Honey, a man known to Rock's family, arrived, and things took an unexpected turn. It took Angelo a moment to realize that Herr meant Mr. as a title in German. Herr Honey, actually his real name was Herr Hans Gutter, but called Honey due to his love for sweets, with a friendly smile, said, "You must be Angelo. I've been waiting for you." Confusion hung in the air, but soon, the pieces fell into place. Angelo was, unknowingly, Rock's substitute. Rock had only informed Herr Honey, his uncle, and not his father, of the last-minute change. Then Herr Vincent Grutter, known to everyone as Herr Vincent, the 6 feet 5 inches farmer waiting man, was Rock's father. It was a revelation. Angelo, surprised, looking at them, said, "I had no idea." Yet, Angelo was received warmly by Rock's father, who extended a heartfelt welcome to Hastings, Nebraska. Rock's father, with warmth, said, "Welcome to our town, Angelo." Here, in this part of Nebraska, a vibrant German Catholic farming community thrived. Angelo, although not as physically imposing as Rock, possessed the strength and work ethic honed on his father Carlo's Italian farm since childhood. Angelo, with determination, replied, "I'm here to work hard." After a few months has passed, Rock's father, Angelo's new employer, watched with astonishment as Angelo seamlessly integrated into the farm's routines. Rock's father, impressed, one day, said, "You're doing a great job, Angelo." With time, Angelo handed Rock's father a letter from Rock, explaining his decision to stay in New York and his enduring love for his family. Rock's father, reading the letter from Rock, got very quiet. Rock was short and direct, said, "Dad, my future is in New York. I love our family deeply." Months turned into a year, and Angelo became an indispensable part of the farm. Initially offered a small room in the barn, he eventually moved into Rock's old room. Angelo, feeling content, talking to himself, said, "This place has become my home." Angelo, overwhelmed, his voice a whisper in letters to his parents, saying, "This place, it's so different. I feel like a stranger in a foreign land." Angelo was determined not to show any weakness, especially in his letters to his parents. He wanted to make them proud, and so he kept his challenges hidden behind a veil of optimism. Angelo, in his letters, his voice resolute, continued, "I must not falter. I'll learn their ways and thrive." Scene 47, Molly. Just as he contemplated returning to New York, fate intervened at a summer picnic after church service. There, he met Molly, one of Rock's cousins from a nearby farm. Molly, with a friendly smile, said, "Hello there. You must be new around here." Angelo, struck by her grace and kindness, found himself drawn to her like a moth to a flame. Molly, with a warm smile, continued, "Hi, I'm Molly. You must be Angelo." Their connection was instantaneous, though Angelo, being an outsider not of German descent, initially raised eyebrows in the community. Angelo, with a soft smile, replied, "Yes, I am. My name's Angelo." Their connection grew slowly, like a delicate blossom unfurling its petals. One of Molly's aunts, whispering to another aunt, said, "He's not one of us." Nonetheless, Angelo and Molly's romance blossomed slowly, like the changing seasons. Molly, with a hopeful look, said, "Let's take it slow, Angelo." A couple of years passed, and Angelo decided to seek Rock's father's permission to date Molly, who was now dearer to him than anyone else. Rock's father contacted Molly's father, who was his cousin, and made the arrangements. Angelo's path to acceptance in the German farming community was not without its obstacles. The close-knit community had its reservations about the outsider in their midst. One of Rock's father's male relatives, with skepticism, said, "Can we trust him? He's not one of us." But fate had a way of intervening. When a crisis befell the farming community, Angelo stepped forward with a solution that would save the day. Angelo, proposing a solution during the crisis, speaking with Rock's father, said, "We can save the crops if we work together with all the farmers of the valley." His dedication and selflessness during this trying time earned him the respect and trust of the farmers. Rock's father, with gratitude, said, "Angelo, you saved our crops. You're one of us now." Other relatives nodded with approval. Rock's father, thoughtfully, added, "Angelo, you've become like family." With family supervision, Angelo and Molly's relationship continued to deepen. Ultimately, as the seasons changed in Nebraska, so did Angelo's life. His relationship with Molly deepened, and they made a promise to Rock's father that would bind Angelo to the farm. Molly, with love in her eyes, said, "Our family is proof that love knows no bounds." Angelo, with love in his eyes, replied, "Molly, you make my heart sing." Angelo's journey was a tribute to the resilience of the human spirit. Overcoming challenges and transcending cultural boundaries, he had woven his own unique tapestry of love and belonging. Angelo, reflecting on his life, said to himself, "My journey has been a tapestry of love, from Italy to America, and it continues." While Angelo occasionally felt a pang of nostalgia for his parents back in Italy, he had found a new kind of love and belonging in Nebraska. Angelo, reflecting on love, continued, "Love takes different forms." Unbeknownst to Angelo, a wonderful surprise awaited him back at his family's cottage, a surprise that would forever change his life. Angelo, with excitement, in that given moment thought of his parents, and said, "I can't wait to share this news." So, a few years later, with Molly and their 5 children, 4 boys and 1 girl, in tow, Angelo embarked on a journey back to his hometown, bridging the gap between his old world and his newfound happiness in Nebraska. Angelo, with anticipation, said, "It's time to bring my worlds together." The story of Angelo was one of resilience, love, and the enduring human spirit that could bridge any divide.
The Cyclist, by Erik Røde, 1755. Read by Richard D. Eisenhower.